All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Look, for the past 28 days, you've been deep in the trenches, right? You've been wiring up large language models, fighting with API limits, debugging autonomous workflows, and just mastering the sheer technical complexity of agentic engineering. But today, the whole game changes. You are stepping out of that cozy glow of your IDE and straight into the wild west of the marketplace. This is the exact moment we take all that incredible technical horsepower you've built up and figure out how to, actually make a living with it. Because here's the crucial point. Building AI agents is an amazing, highly sought-after skill, for sure. But monetizing those skills, that requires a completely new, entirely different toolkit. You really have to ask yourself one fundamental question. You've mastered the code, but can you sell it? The harsh reality of the tech world is that the best code doesn't always win. The best distributed and best positioned engineer wins. You could build the most elegant, efficient, autonomous AI agent on the planet, but if you can't convince a client of its value, well, that code is just going to sit on your hard drive collecting digital dust. So today is all about bridging that exact gap. To tackle this, we're going to look at day 29 as sort of a dual engine machine. We're splitting your preparation into two totally distinct but incredibly important halves. On one side, we have the learn phase. This is all about understanding the invisible business mechanics, the rules of the game, the strategy, the psychology of freelancing. And on the other side, we have the create phase. This is where you build tangible, visible proof of your work. You really can't succeed with just one. I mean, if you only have the theory, you're basically a philosopher with zero clients. If you have the proof but no business mechanics, you're going to end up overworked and severely underpaid. Both of these engines must fire together. Let's kick things off with the learn phase, where we unpack the invisible infrastructure of freelancing. These 7 mechanics are exactly what will protect you, sustain you, and ultimately win you high-paying clients. We're talking portfolio, proposal writing, pricing, client communication, discovery calls, contracts, and your delivery process. Think of these not as, boring administrative chores, but as the literal operating system for your freelance business. If even one of these core mechanics is buggy or missing, your entire business process can crash. They are your absolute shield and sword for navigating the open market. Take pricing, for example. It's not just a number you pull out of thin air, it is your business armor. Pricing agentic engineering isn't like pricing a standard website build. When you build an agent that can automate an entire department, you really shouldn't be charging an hourly rate. You need to charge based on the massive value and the time you're saving that company. Your pricing has to reflect that massive return on investment. Because if you aren't confidently understanding the value you provide, a client is never going to guess it. Getting your pricing strategy right dictates the type of clients you attract and, honestly, the quality of life you'll lead as an independent engineer. Let's look at this like a mini story of a successful freelance gig, starting right from the very first handshake. Step 1 is the discovery call. Now, this isn't just a friendly chat, it's an investigation. You are diagnosing the client's actual pain points to see if an AI agent is even the right solution. Once you agree on a path forward, you jump straight into step 2, contracts. This is where you lock in the scope of work and protect yourself from the dreaded scope creep, which, let's be real, is the silent killer of freelance weekends. And finally, step 3, the delivery process. This is how you hand over the finished system so seamlessly that the client knows exactly how to use it, ensuring you get paid and get a glowing review. Now, throughout that entire journey, from the first email to the final handoff, client communication is the essential glue connecting your brilliant technical mind to your paying clients. It's the bridge. See, as an agentic engineer, you probably speak in terms of APIs, vector databases, and neural network latency. But your client, they speak revenue, time saved, and customer acquisition. If you can't translate your technical features into their business benefits, the deal falls apart. Mastering this means, instead of saying, hey, I reduced the vector search latency by 500 milliseconds, you tell them, I just saved your customer support team 10 hours a week. You have to become this bilingual translator, seamlessly toggling between the language of code and the language of commerce. All right, let's shift gears to the second half of day 29 and see how this builds right into the create phase. We're leaving the abstract theory behind and moving into hard, undeniable execution. This is where we massively speed up the tempo and turn your preparation into reality. You've learned how to talk the talk. Now you've got to generate the assets that prove you can walk the walk. The modern freelance market is hyper-competitive, and clients don't just want promises anymore. They want proof. So the create phase is all about manufacturing that proof at a volume and quality that they simply cannot ignore. And that brings us to the number 10. Yes, 10 GitHub repositories. Take a second and let that number sink in. When a prospective client or a technical lead looks you up, this needs to be a massive, undeniable mountain of proof showing them exactly what you're capable of engineering. And 10 robust repositories does not mean 10 simple Hello World apps. We mean full agentic workflows, custom RAG implementations, autonomous data scrapers, multi-agent orchestrations. 1 or 2 repos? That kind of looks like a weekend hobby. But 10 dedicated projects? That shows you are a relentless professional. It demonstrates breadth, consistency, and a deep mastery of the tools. It completely removes the risk for the client because the evidence of your competence is sitting right there in the open source, ready to be inspected. But hey, code alone isn't enough for the modern freelancer. Alongside those repositories, you absolutely must forge a personal brand arsenal. This starts with a dedicated personal portfolio website, your digital storefront, the one piece of the internet you fully control. Next, you need detailed case studies on LinkedIn. This is where your B2B networking happens. You need to publicly break down the complex problems you've solved. And finally, highly visual demo videos. I'd argue this is perhaps the most important asset of all. AI is a complete black box to most clients. But a 2-minute video of your agent autonomously researching and writing a report, that turns the black box into a glass box. Demos make the magic real for non-technical buyers. And this is where the two phases brilliantly collide to create a massive feedback loop. The create assets directly support your learn skills. Those demo videos you recorded, they are the exact visual proof you're going to embed into your proposals to make your pitches completely irresistible. Those case studies you published on LinkedIn, they provide the talking points and the credibility you need for flawless client communication during your discovery calls. The two phases aren't separate checklists. They're one continuous engine. Your creations empower your business mechanics, and your business mechanics monetize your creations. Honestly, by the time you check off the final item on this preparation list, a profound identity shift is going to occur. Day 29 is not just some checklist to rush through. It is the absolute launchpad for your independent tech career. By the end of this prep, you aren't just an engineer anymore. You are a fully equipped freelance business completely ready for the market. You understand your value, you've got the legal frameworks to protect yourself, and you possess an undeniable portfolio proving your expertise to the world. You've evolved from someone who just writes scripts into a professional consultant who delivers immense business value. So, day 29 is mapped out. We've walked through the entire blueprint, you have the roadmap for the learn phase, you've forged the business armor of pricing and communication, and you've stacked up the undeniable proof of work in the create phase. You're standing right on the edge of the market, fully equipped. So the only question left to ask yourself is this. Are you going to keep building the future for someone else's company, or are you finally ready to build your own? Day 30 is waiting. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you conquer next.